let me just go to my YouTube channel. Hey guys, it's Windham, that filthy casual, back for Video Wednesdays. And originally I'd kind of started recording this one, and then I decided to hang out with my grandma instead this past week. So anyway, I decided to kind of revamp this video a little bit just because I'd started doing it, and then my grandma walked in and was like, "Do you want some dinner?" And I was like, "Let's make a video, yo." So anyway, I have a few announcements first. First of all, I accidentally misspelled Nathan's name in the last video, and I apologize, Nathan. It was not cool of me to do that. It'll probably happen again in the future, but I apologize, and I'll fix it right here. Also, be on the lookout for collaborations in the future. I'm really excited. The channel Renegades React is doing super well, and the guys are super awesome, and I've known them for a while, and we're actually going to be doing something together in the next few months, which is really cool. And they actually gave me a shout out, and hopefully I'll be able to put a link to that video for you guys to watch down below. And they finally made it to 20,000 subscribers, and they actually had like a live cast whenever they made it to 20,000. So they're doing awesome. I'm so excited for them. I love the whole group, and they're all really nice, and they're all really down to earth. So if you guys want to just kind of give them a look and see, that'd be awesome. I also have some friends on here that are currently working on maybe making some reaction videos to some of the reviews that I do, and that would be really cool. I would be super flattered if they did that. So anyway, be on the lookout for that. Also, I've got a live Twitter feed that I do a lot of times whenever I'm watching these videos, and I mean, y'all might not think it's funny. I have a weird sense of humor, and I kind of laugh at myself. But anyway, it's just to kind of give you all a preview of what I'm working on, what I'm doing, and yeah, it's all in good fun. So maybe check out my live Twitter feed if you guys want to. That would be awesome. The hood is courtesy of Dakota Sawyer. So thank you for encouraging me to look like a straight up gangster. Thug life, Dakota Sawyer. So anyway, here we go. IMDb's 250 best films of all time. How many have you seen? And today we're doing the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, I don't know what's up with me watching these movies that are like 3 hours long, but I think this is actually the longest one. Everything has been pretty much about like 2.5 hours. This is straight up like 2 hours and 58 minutes. Okay, this movie is like so ridiculously long. So first of all, let's talk about the fact that this was a spaghetti western. Now, for you all that don't understand the concept of a spaghetti western, that's basically a western movie where all the people that work on it are all Italians. Everybody's names are like, "Hey, Patrizio." I don't even know if that's an Italian name, and if you're Italian, I apologize. I hope I didn't offend you. But basically, everybody that worked on it is Italian, and so it's hilarious. It's this, you know, kind of rough and tumble American concept of a movie of the Wild West, and then you have all these Italian people working on it. So definitely a spaghetti western, and it came out in 1966, and it was directed by Sergio Leone. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Themes of this movie, before I get into the plot, which I just think are fascinating themes, being everybody was into romanticizing the idea of the West, which is true, and everybody was so used to this John Wayne cowboy, this hero cowboy where he did nothing wrong, and he was always against the robber who was taking advantage of the system, and the fact that like there was this wilderness that they were surrounded by. And Leone comes in and he goes, you know what, like, I want to kind of poke fun at that culture, and I want to poke fun at the fact that, you know, like, so many people romanticize the idea of a cowboy. I want an anti-hero, and I want a bunch of complex characters that aren't necessarily good and they aren't necessarily bad, and I really want to show that humans are humans and they have a bad side, And I just really want to take apart the idea of the cowboy and kind of make a critique satire of the Western movie. And that's what this kind of does, and it's pretty cool. You know, it's part of the trilogy that kind of all goes together. The intro is really awesome. First of all, the intro is iconic. You've got your iconic music. The intro that everybody has seen. You see so many directors and so many screenwriters and everything. The entire film industry as a whole, as an art form, has been inspired by this intro that just sticks in your mind, and it's just gorgeous. And it starts out and you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this Western movie, I'm really excited. And then you have this city set on a hill, and I'm kind of like, I understand that you're in the middle of nowhere, but don't you think that your city set on a hill is not a good idea when to travel anywhere you have to travel on horseback and with carriages? Because one misstep, one spooked horse, and you're dead, and you go over the side of the cliff, and no one's ever gonna see you again. I guess it's safe, but it's also unsafe. I don't know, I thought that was stupid. But so it opens up, and you see this man kind of jump or be thrown out of a window, and this man is known as the Ugly. Now I'm just gonna call him the Ugly. He's also called the Rat. But anyway, so you've got the Ugly, then you see a man that's labeled as the Bad, and Angel Eye. I just like calling him the Bad, honestly. You kind of think that he's this bounty hunter. He's looking for this man, and it doesn't matter if people give him the information that he wants or not. If he was paid to kill someone, he's gonna kill them, even if they try to bribe him with even more money than he's already been offered by the other person. Because he says, when I get paid, I do a job. And that's when he ends up killing a woman and a child, because he's looking for this man named Bill Carson. And you don't know why yet, you just know he's looking for him. Anyway, so then you meet Clint Eastwood's character. And Clint Eastwood, back in the day, was a good-looking individual. And he still is. But back in the day, he brought something to the table. And he's introduced as the Good, and he comes across the Ugly again, and the Ugly is kind of being kidnapped and picked up, and the Good, also known as Blondie, which I don't understand because his hair is like gray, Blondie rescues the Ugly, and you realize that he's a bounty hunter, and he's like, how much are you worth? Because he knows that the Ugly's a crook. And the Ugly is like, $2,000. And they set up this scheme where they start going into towns, turning in the Ugly, collecting the prize money, and then the Good setting him free at the last minute when he's about to be executed, running to the next town and doing the same thing, collecting the money. But what ends up happening is they're kind of both just bad individuals. They're not very straight-laced. And so the Ugly is basically planning on betraying the Good in a way, and the Good realizes that. So he kind of abandons him in the middle of the desert and kind of makes him find his own way with the money. Then Ugly ends up tracking him down when he's about to be kidnapped by Confederate soldiers. And then they kind of betray each other again. He tries to get Blondie to kill himself, but then Blondie escapes, but then Ugly ends up capturing Blondie, so they've kind of joined forces again. And he forces Blondie to kind of start walking across the desert and to be dehydrated. I don't know, and he's about to die when they find this abandoned wagon with this man inside that's dying, and he says, if you give me some water, I'll tell you where 20,000 gold coins are buried. And they're like, that sounds good. And the Ugly goes to go find out. Well, he doesn't go to go find out. He goes to go get water, and he comes back and the man's dead, but Blondie says, I know what grave it's buried in. And the Rat knows the graveyard, so they both have information that the other person knows, so they both kind of need each other to be able to get this money. So then they disguise themselves as Confederate soldiers to try to return to an old mission to get through everything, to find the money. Then they're kidnapped by the Union. And you actually find out, before the man has died, he calls himself Bill Carson. And they actually answer a roll call where the Ugly calls himself Bill Carson. And guess who's there? The Bad. You actually find out that he's a sergeant in the Union Army. He's actually not really a bounty hunter. But, so he decides to start torturing the Ugly to find out a name. And the Ugly's like, I'll tell you, blah, 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 I'll tell you. And he says, but you need the other guy to tell you what cemetery. But the bad kind of knows that Blondie's not going to be able to have information tortured out of him. He kind of is wiser than that. So he tells Blondie, I'm going to give you half of the share if you tell me the information and help me find it. And Blondie kind of agrees. And they leave Ugly there at the camp. But Ugly, of course, escapes because he's a rat. Then there's this random bath shootout scene. I don't understand the point of it, I guess. But to where Rat meets up with Blondie. So we've got Ugly and Good meeting up. Decide to betray Angel Eye and go find the money themselves. And then there's this really cool scene where they see this battle that's taking place across a bridge that they need to cross to be able to get to the cemetery. And Blondie and Ugly kind of realize, you know, if we collapse the bridge and cause some chaos, we're going to be able to confuse everybody, make it across the bridge, and go get our gold. So they're kind of setting up the dynamite to take care of this, when Ugly kind of goes, why don't we tell each other the name of everything and kind of give each other information that we need before this gets started. So they do. They make the bridge explode in this really cool scene. And then in the confusion, Ugly steals a horse, leaves Blondie behind, and keeps going. Now, when the Ugly gets there, he opens up a grave and there's just a skeleton there. And then he's discovered by Blondie, as well as by Bad, Angel Eye. So then they kind of have a standoff. Blondie kills Angel Eye, and then Blondie and Ugly get the gold. And Blondie makes Ugly stand on top of a grave and kind of hang himself, kind of like Ugly tried to convince Blondie to do back in the beginning when he first betrayed him. And leaves him half the gold, and then Blondie takes off into the distance riding away on his horse. And Ugly yells after him, Blondie! Basically, and right at the last minute, Blondie shoots him down into the gold, leaving him kind of in the desert, kind of in a cemetery, but with his half of the money. And yeah, that's how it ends. So overall, plot was pretty good. You know, I've already got some interesting facts about production, I've already got some interesting facts about the director and like the overall theme, and that's pretty cool. Plot was interesting, plot was pretty good. I will say, I thought casting was excellent. You've got Clint Eastwood as Blondie, the man with no name, basically. And, you know, he did excellently. I mean, this is kind of what he's known for, is honestly being this cocky rogue of a man. I thought he did an excellent job. Lee Van Cleef was Bad, Angel Eye. He did great as well. I mean, he made you feel uneasy. You didn't like him, even though he's supposed to be a good guy. You know, he's a complicated character. I thought he did an excellent job. Then you got Eli Wallach playing Ugly, or the Rat. And he did great. I mean, he was the comic relief as well as, I'm sorry, but I would hate to be called the ugly one in a film. But he did great. So honestly, I kind of felt like casting was spot on. I thought casting was great. Scoring was excellent. Now, scoring was done by Ennio Morricone. And oh, it's just so brilliant. It's so iconic. And what was really cool that what he did was, because of the three main characters, he ended up using a different instrument for each of the main characters whenever he was involving them in the story, which I just think is great. Each one had their own instrument. It's super cool. And yeah, overall, everything was really good, and I really enjoyed it. My problem was the fact that this film, in my opinion, it was way too long. Sometimes they would kind of over-communicate what was happening in the scene by showing a very similar shot to the one that they showed before, like over and over and over again, which I didn't appreciate. Like the scene where the rat is looking for the correct grave. It almost seemed like they took an entire 5 minutes of the film to kind of set up this idea that he's in this vast graveyard. And I feel like they could have done it in a lot simpler of a way. I felt like they did that a lot. It just seemed like there was a lot of dead space. A lot of repetition, which I didn't appreciate because it's such a long movie. I was like, oh my gosh. And I would also say they get stranded in the desert a lot. I understand the irony of it, but after like the third time, you're just kind of done and you're just kind of hoping that nobody strands each other in the desert anymore. I love how it, you know, again, it played on the idea that nobody is fully good and nobody is fully bad. And so everybody is tricking each other and everybody is playing on each other, which I just loved. I thought it was really interesting. And yeah, really good, iconic. I enjoyed it. Overall, I would give it a 7 out of 10. Just because of length, I thought it had so much potential. There are a few downfalls, but honestly, sometimes length just does it for me when the plot itself could be communicated in a lot simpler of a way, especially if the plot wasn't that complicated. Yeah, it was definitely the length that kind of made me kind of go, but anyway, so thank you guys for watching. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Renegades React with their 20,000. Again, I'm linking their channel down below. And I'm also going to link their 20,000th live stream episode down in the description. They're awesome. Keep a lookout for them. I feel like they're just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. They're doing a great job. And thank you guys that have been watching religiously, and thank you guys that communicate with me on Twitter and that communicate with me in the comments. Like, I love it, and you guys are awesome. I'm having so much fun doing this. So anyway, guys, it's Windham. Follow me on social media. I'm really excited to see what the future holds. Let's keep sharing and getting more subscribers and liking these videos. Hopefully I can bring my grandma back. That would be excellent because she actually really enjoyed herself. And yeah, I look forward to doing another movie. So anyway, guys, I'll see you later. I got a label maker.